Blood Knights for Xbox 360 is a bad game in my opinion. Now it's not 100% unplayable awful, but it's certainly not a good video game. The first thing I want to mention in my review is performance. This game frequently had frame rate drops, lags, and stutters, so that didn't help anything. Also graphically, this game, at least on Xbox, doesn't look very good, although the cutscenes actually look pretty good when compared to gameplay graphics. Now maybe I'm just tripping here, but some areas seem to look graphically better than others. Like in one level I'd think, okay, this looks pretty nice, and in the following level I'd say, wow, this doesn't look so good. I don't know, maybe some levels were rushed in development. Anyways, the voice actors in this game were often laughably bad, and that's coming from a guy who is admittedly a horrible narrator. And sure, some VAs were good enough, but others felt like they weren't even trying, or they were told to read their scripts in a weird tone of voice. But at least Blood Knights has decent sound effects and a great soundtrack, and I was surprised by how much I liked the OST. Going in to discuss gameplay, the first thing I'd like to talk about is camera angles. This title has a fixed camera angle, and it was often annoying on solo, but it was horrible on local co-op. My wife played this game with me for maybe an hour and a half, and sometimes the camera would, I don't know how to say this, flip out, and one of us wouldn't be shown on screen, or something would be blocking part of the screen, like a wall or a chandelier. Shoot, I remember at one point the two of us were going bonkers trying to figure out why we couldn't progress beyond a certain point after a lot of searching and exploring, until I finally broke down and looked up a tutorial. Turns out we needed to press a button that was simply out of view on co-op. When we went past it, a wall was blocking it from being seen. So needless to say, we were a little irked, and my wife didn't like this game in general. Shifting over to discuss combat, on solo, you can play as one of two characters, Jeremy or Alyssa, but on co-op, player 1 is always Jeremy, and player 2 is always Alyssa. I have no idea why, that's just the way it was, but on solo, you can swap between the two of them at any time. Anyways, Jeremy has melee combat and Alyssa has ranged attacks, and because she has infinite ammo, this made her the better of the two characters in my opinion, since she didn't have to get close to enemies to fight them. Now each character's dual-wield weapons, Jeremy having swords and Alyssa crossbow pistols, and as you level up from killing enemies, you unlock new weapons with better stats and bonuses, and the same goes for armor. One thing that took some getting used to was that you did Jeremy's primary attack by pressing X, but Alyssa's was the right bumper. For some reason. I don't know why they didn't use X for both, but whatever. And each character has special abilities that they can use in combat, like Alyssa having grenades, flaming arrows, and the ability to push enemies away, while Jeremy can pull enemies towards him, and he has a whirlwind attack and a strong melee attack. Going to another part of combat, I do praise this game's health system in a way. So, both playable characters are vampires, and what do vampires do? Drink blood, and that'll be your primary way to restore HP in this game. So, the way this works is that you can remotely grab an enemy and drain some of their life force to restore your own, and doing this slows time while also having a short cooldown. That being said, enemies sometimes drop HP pickups, and saving restores some health. Plus, you can get a ring that allows you to slowly regenerate health on your own. But again, vampiring blood will be your main way to stay alive. This was creative in my opinion and fit the vampire theme, so props there. Moving on to other things, I did mention rings. Every now and then, you can find rings which do things like increase your max health or how much damage you do, stuff like that. And each character can wear 2 rings at once, and you can sell any unwanted rings or other items at traders. And you can buy things, of course, using gold dropped by enemies or earned by selling things. Now, I also mentioned leveling up a minute ago. Blood Knights has a basic level up system. Kill enemies to earn experience points, and then pick a perk. But both characters level up regardless of which one you primarily use, So that was nice, and you can also find something called blood coins, which are scattered around the game, and when you collect 5 of these, you earn 1 attribute point, which can be used to increase your max health, luck, and stamina. Actually, looking back, I have no idea what stamina did since you can't run in this game. Who knows? Lol. As far as enemy variety goes here, this title had a surprisingly large selection, ranging from humans, vampires, bats, werewolves, some sort of robot, and several bosses. Honestly, more enemies than I expected, which was good. Moving on to other things gameplay-wise, Blood Knights tried to toss in some platforming, which was more chaotic than anything else thanks to the not-so-good camera angles. And forget platforming on co-op, that was even messier as the 2 players would have to help each other cross certain areas, which wasn't the easiest thing in the world. Wrapping up gameplay as just some little notes, you could sometimes use Alyssa's throwing ability to toss enemies off of ledges, which was fun, and you can earn an achievement for doing this 10 times. And Alyssa can also blow up red barrels with flaming crossbow bolts, so that was pretty cool in my opinion. Moving over to talk about this game's story, it wasn't the best. Something about a human-vampire war, and Jeremy was bonded to a vampire as a desperation move by the humans, and you're trying to stop some evil vampires who want to wipe out humans, while also fighting some bad humans as well, who are seeking power amidst the chaos. Or something like that. Now, the story is actually shaped by the choices you make, like whether or not you spare a life and dialogue options you choose, so I will give Blood Knights some credit there, and this title offers side quests if you want something to do apart from the main story. And while some dialogue lines could be cringe, they were sometimes kind of funny, so it was balanced out in my opinion. Well, I reckon that says about all there is to say regarding Blood Knights. Was it a purely awful experience like the Gollum game or Amy? No, as I did sometimes have fun with it, but I sort of just found this one to be overall kinda boring, with the horrible camera angles, bad graphics, and the performance issues making a meh experience worse, and I give Blood Knights a 5.9 out of 10 by my grade scale, the highest score I can give it while still calling it a bad game. For whatever it's worth, I did pick this game up on sale for $2.50, and I would not suggest paying a penny more than that, and it's certainly not worth its normal price of $10. As far as similar games I can suggest to this one, I don't have a ton of suggestions really. Calling it a similar game is definitely a stretch, but maybe Zombieland Double Tap Road Trip. Again, calling that a similar game is a huge stretch, but I haven't played many games even remotely close to Blood Knights. Anyways, a side note apart from my review is that the ESRB didn't mention cussing in this game's rating for whatever reason. Only blood and violence. Oh, okay. And I reckon that wraps up my video for today. Thanks for watching, and sorry if I ticked anyone off. For any newcomers here, I mostly review and discuss zombie and horror games, so feel free to check out some of my other vids if that sounds interesting. As far as our Bible verse of the day, I read Acts 5, verse 29 NIV. Peter and the other apostles replied, "We must obey God rather than human beings." Like always, none of my content is ever made by AI, and I don't consent to my voice and likeness being modified, altered, and copied by AI in any way. Feel free to follow me on GameRam if you want hints at upcoming vids and behind the scenes stuff. A huge thanks to everyone who stuck around to the end. I know I don't make the best quality videos, so thanks if you stuck around to the end. I really do appreciate it. Jesus loves you all. Never forget that. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one. Stay hydrated. Peace. Moving over to talk about this game's story, it wasn't the best. Something about a human-vampire war. Well, I reckon that says about all there is to say about